Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? Just adjusting the mic here, it's a little loud. Right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. We got a few people here. First live stream. This is really exciting. Hopefully, we can do more of these, whether it's breakdowns of videos that I've shot or if it's reviewing your guys' videos. I think this could be really exciting for everyone. Everyone can learn a lot. We can all learn from each other. So this could be a lot of fun. We are going to break down RWB Dallas from start to finish and pretty much go through the entire thing, talking about camera work, types of cameras that were used, answering your guys' questions, and things like that. In terms of content for the channel, we got a cool behind-the-scenes video that my buddy who works here, Antonio, just put together and edited of the LTO Live to Offend BMW E36s, so that should be live probably Thursday because the full feature will be done, actually it's being posted tomorrow at like 12, so stay tuned for that. So while I am getting this going here, let's see what we got. In the meantime, like as this video is playing along, obviously if you guys have any questions about really anything, like how a shot was done, what type of gear was being used, anything like that, leave a comment and I will answer it as best as I can. But yeah, this is also, I don't know if all of you guys seen some other vlogs, but this is the office space. We've got beautiful setup here. It actually didn't look anything like this before. I'll give a tour on another live stream at another time, but actually didn't look like this at all before. We renovated the entire thing, added shiplap wood, basically redesigned the whole place to make it a better environment as a whole. But enough of that. Let's dive in here with RWB Dallas. Now, what's crazy about this is I didn't know David, who is the owner of the RWB. There's a shop out here on Long Island called Petroworks, and I've been working with them for years. And at one point, I was dying to film an RWB car. I just couldn't find one. And ironically, David used to live up here in Long Island, which I didn't know about. And then I was talking to Mo at Petroworks. I was like, hey, is there like an RWB that that's being built sometime soon, whether it's in like this area or somewhere else? He's like, actually, I have a customer of mine who moved down to Dallas and is getting his car built. So hit him up and work something out. So shout out to Mo because he was the plug that got me this RWB build, which has done so well. And I appreciate all of you guys watching it because right now it's sitting at like 2.8 million views, which is crazy. Poison Studios, shout out to you. Thanks for saying love in the office. Love it. So yeah, that is the story behind RWB Dallas, how it started. There's actually a vlog also where I premiered it in a movie theater after the fact, which was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and hopefully I'm going to be able to do that more because that's one of a kind. So let's I'll try to get Dave. Oh, Colby, what's up, dude? Hell yeah. Get David up in this piece. By the way, shout out also Antonio who edited the vlog, Side Talk NYC. If you know, you know. Bing bong. But yeah, Colby, see what you can do here. He might enjoy this. All right, let's get this started. All right. So let's put this. Yeah, how's the overall quality of the stream for everyone so far? Because obviously this is the first time doing this. I think I have everything set up properly or to the best of my knowledge, but let me know how the quality is. What switches you typing on? Yo, it's a Razer keyboard. It's pretty loud, but I like it. Hold up. Just gonna adjust this here. Alex's list, what's good, bro? Colby, hell yeah, man, Colby. That theater viewing was once in a lifetime experience, and hopefully can do more here. Let me get the audio going here. 1 second, guys. Hold on. Slight issues. Oh, my headphones are plugged in. That would be why. Word, everyone's 1080p. Hell yeah, love it, love to see it. If you guys are getting any like audio feedback or video feedback, let me know. Yo, Steve, what up, bruh? All right. Actually, you can get rid of this. This should work now. Yes, perfect. All right, work. Let's get into it. RWB Dallas. Let me know if the desktop audio is too loud or not. See. Opened up here with some drone shots that we actually ended up getting towards the end of the trip. So obviously when putting a video together from an editing standpoint, not everything is shot in chronological order. You're shooting over completely, multiple days, different types of, different hours of the days and things like that. So obviously not everything's in chronological order. Near media, I shoot on the A7S III, I shoot S-Log 3, and when I had the S2 and A7 III, I was shooting S-Log 2. Best profiles all around. Alright, so we're getting in the intro here. Working with Nakai was crazy too, because he's just an absolute animal at what he does. It's crazy, and you'll see it within this video, but he will literally just zone in, like you can't even like bother him. He'll just zone in and just completely go at the build just for like hours on end. And like he only stops to either have like a soda, cigarette, which you'll see, or obviously if he has to eat. But so yeah, I had to establish, obviously for nobody that knows about an RWB build, I had to establish where Nakai usually comes from. If he's not in the States already, he obviously flies out. So he did a graphic, a visual animation of that. And yes, there's no RWB build without cigarettes, for sure.
My name is David Saslow. I'm originally from New York. I moved to Texas about 2 years
David's
ago.
interview, and you'll see a bunch of other interviews throughout this piece, was really necessary because when you're doing a documentary like this one, you really have to tie all the pieces together, because if you do straight action for like 15, 20, 25 minutes, it kind of gets like tedious and boring. So you kind of have to help to tell the story, and by doing that is obviously implementing characters or people to tell their story and what happened on their end to try and kind of mesh things together better. So David's interview we actually did at the end of his feature, which was the last night of the trip, and we literally found this like random alleyway by a bunch of food places that had beautiful string lights in the back. I was like, yo, this is it, we gotta do it out here. And luckily it was warm enough out that it was fine to work in. So let's continue on here.
For a little over a year before
and yes, if you guys have never met David, he does look like Post Malone. There's about 400 comments saying that, maybe even a little bit more.
Waiting for Nakai-san to arrive. It really didn't sink in until he was there working on the car. He's such an amazing guy, and even though
Static Schwaafilms, shout out you, bro.
He shares the same passion for the cars as all the other owners. So he really puts his heart and soul into every car.
So I had to introduce Nakai in kind of like a, what's the word for it? Like a strong way. So for David to be able to talk about him without really seeing him first kind of builds up that anticipation. And then the music starts in kind of like low and then goes up higher and really hits to really just be in your face and like, hey, this is Nakai, he's here. Also, shout out David's mother, because she was freaking awesome, like the entire time. She's one of the nicest people. She's one of those just really down-to-earth moms that really just want to be a part of the experience as a whole and be invested in, her son's happiness, which is, it's awesome to see to get parents get involved in the automotive scene. Let's see. Nicholas Calibro, oh my god, first live stream, good luck, thanks bro. He works in my office too, just so you guys know. So talk shit if you guys want. Apon Media, what mics do you use for this interview? This interview, if I'm not mistaken, was, what was it? RWB Dallas was in 2018. I forget what I was using then. I want to say, oh, actually, no, it probably was on Tascam DR10 recorders, which I don't, actually, I have one right in my bag here. Hold on. If you guys don't know what that is, there are these great little recorders, very pocket sized, and this was paired with a Sennheiser MKE Lav, I believe back then, one of them, I don't know. But these are great, super cheap, great for wedding videos, and honestly, they're just great all around. You can never have too many of these. Poison Studios, love the music you use, the vibes are always on point. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And actually, that's a good point that you bring that up, because for RWB Dallas, I remember I was writing down on sticky notes how much time I invested into the overall edit. I think it ended up being like a total of like 80, 85 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And searching for music was probably a good like 15 of that. I actually found some tracks that I liked, but they ended up being copywritten, so I couldn't use them. And at the time, the budget didn't allow for me to pay for a license for them. So I scrapped all those, found other ones, started editing the video to those ones, hated how it sounded with the footage to it, scrapped that whole thing, and then just eventually found songs that I liked. It was literally ridiculous. And for those of you who are just joining, we are breaking down RWB Dallas, the documentary.
I was thinking like 20-something.
Near Media, are you shooting XAVCSI 4K? Any memory cap issues? On the A7S III, I am shooting in XAVCSI 4K. When I do 4K 60, internal SDs get me like 20 to 30 minutes, but I can also record to the Ninja V, which is super helpful, which gives me way more record time. All right, so here we are. Obviously just met Nakai. We met David's mother briefly, met David, and now we are at the body shop where the RWB build is getting done. So this is Robert Reed. He is the owner of this Mako. So obviously when most people see a Mako body shop, they think like hack job, or they're not good at what they do. So I knew once I found out that it was going to be done at Mako, I knew I had to get an interview with the owner, because I wanted him to explain the type of work that he does there. So when people visually, actually watch this, they're not going to be like, oh, it's just, ironically, there are some comments where it's just like, yeah, this is done in a Mako, this is whack, whatever, screw them. I wanted David to really, Robert to really tell his story and what he does at his shop and the quality that he puts out, because I wanted to obviously put him, his shop, and Mako in a good light, because in all honesty, you can see from this video the type of quality and also how clean his shop is. Like, I really wanted to show that off, because I knew it would get a bad rap otherwise.
Mako is a 45-year-old brand in production painting.
So you'll see here we got some, this B-roll actually of the guys working and stuff was shot while we were filming Nakai building the RWB, because every now and again we had some downtime to shoot some stuff, so I knew we would need some, so we did this.
Working throughout the RWB build. Lots of spectators came in, but everybody
oh, also a good thing to point out, on this job it was myself, Anthony Purcell, aka Halcyon Photo, and Sebastian Rodriguez. Halcyon was second camera, Sebastian was production assistant, camera car driver, etc. This video was shot on solely 2 A7S2s and one Sony FX6, which was rented at the time, and I believe that was it. There was some like interior cameras and GoPros and whatnot, but that was mainly what this was shot on. So myself and Anthony were camera operators, and Sebastian was a huge help in being a production assistant. What do we got here? Everyone, David's in the stream. David's in the stream. What's going on, Dave? Nice to have you in here. This is awesome. I think this is a great first stream to do because this is one of the most successful videos on this channel, and you know, this is really in part thanks to you. So, shout out David. King Hastings, how long have you been working on your transition editing? They are so clean. A long time, my friend. Long time. So we're gonna keep diving in here.
He gets a lot of visibility. A lot of people come around trying to get autographs, but he stayed focused, did what he needed to do. So as we move around, you'll see quite a few cool things that we do. We work on
Thanks, Nick. We'll move this mic closer here so it sounds a little better.
We're big car guys. This is my GTR right here.
But yeah, look at Robert's shop. I mean, he's got nice cars in there, nice bikes. The shop's extremely clean. It was literally perfect for this build.
One thing to another, that's how we decided to do the build for the RWB here. The experience was phenomenal. Hard to describe. I think leading up to it,
yeah, watching Nakai work. If you guys have watched RWB videos and you haven't seen him do it in person, even though I don't think he actually likes a lot of people watching all the time, you really should watch him in person because it's crazy to see.
It's clear he's done hundreds.
Low key. Basso, sorry if I mispronounced that. I've been filming for about 15, 16 years now. Started out skateboarding and filming action sports and stuff like that.
RWB Dallas #1.
All right, so now we get into it. There's about 4.5 minutes of talking. You know, at this point, if viewers aren't bored, it's a good thing, but now you really got to dive into the action. So hit it to a hard black screen, music kicks in, and here you go. Also, you'll see a lot of shots of Nakai that are close up, and what we really want to portray in this, I want it to be like an intimate viewing experience, so people can really feel like they're there and like kind of building with Nakai. So you see a lot of close-up stuff of his eyes, of him working, concentrated, so it almost feels like you're like literally right there with him. David's mother there again. She was there literally throughout the entire build. Trooper, absolute trooper. Ooh. So this build sequence is obviously going a little bit fast, but what's crazy is that in person this was, actually I'm gonna rewind to that real quick. What's crazy is that this build literally went that fast. Nakai had this completed within like a day and a half. At like 10 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day kind of thing, just like crushed it. I don't know if a lot of people know either this next clip with the camera. I forgot the guy's name, who it was, but threw this clip in reverse because I wanted to show him actually taking a picture. So it looks a little sus, but it kind of worked. It's coming up in a few seconds here. Sometimes you just gotta throw it in reverse, you know? Throw it in reverse, Terry. There it is, there it is. Yeah, Dave, I missed the car too, man. I would love to see it again at some point. And you'll obviously notice the sound design throughout this to help tune the viewer in to the experience along with all the tight shots and stuff. So you'll hear at some points where the music kind of tunes down and you just hear the sound of, you know, the blade going through the fender to really hone in on that experience. Another close-up shot of Nakai really focusing in there. I believe I was shooting a lot of this stuff on, this is the A7S II with the Zeiss 35mm 1.4. That was like most of this stuff, and the FS7 with the 7200 2.8. Yeah, he cut up this car so freaking quick, it was wild.
They have like a Thai shrimp salad or
You know what sucks though about these builds is that you almost want to connect with Nakai on like a more personal level, And obviously the language barrier sucks to get through that. And like, there's always miscommunication, and like, you sometimes get the feeling that, it's shitty to say, but like, you sometimes get the feeling that he just, what's the word for it? Not that he doesn't respect you, but it's just like, you just can't, I think you guys get where I'm going with it, but you just can't get past this barrier of like, real emotion with him, if that makes sense. David, I am down to do that video. You let me know. Funky Mac, we hit the Ram Ranch, baby. Let's go. Near Media, I unfortunately did not bring my own lighting for this in 2018. I also did not have the lighting that I have now. I brought like some small LED panels that really like didn't do much, and you'll see them throughout here. They're not that bright. So the shop had like relatively good lighting. Looking back on this now, because I haven't watched this video in a long time, like here and there I'll watch bits and pieces of it, but looking back at it now, like I'm like, I wish I could have brought more lights. I did bring a tube light as well, but you know, still not compared to the stuff I have now. But I'm looking back at this now, I'm like, there's always things that you can do differently, right? And like, I wish I colored this whole thing differently, but I didn't know back then what I know now, sort of thing. But you know, that's hindsight. If you guys scroll back all the way on my channel to like 2014, 2015, you'll see some pretty hilarious stuff. Yeah, I mean, similar to building surfboards too in a lot of ways. The Kai man just ripping through this build, wild. A lot of the times when we were filming this too, we were trying to get different perspectives, whether it's some stuff in the foreground, whether it's, you know, bumpers on the floor, extra parts, people watching the build, because you don't want to do up close stuff all the time, right? You want to do some up close stuff, some stuff of people watching, so it makes everything more dynamic. You want to get obviously panning shots, some whip pan shots, some handheld stuff, some wides of the room, so the viewer can get a sense of where they are and what the environment is. So you don't always want to sit on like a gimbal the entire time, right? You need to mix it up, make the video more dynamic. So right now, Nakai is doing a lot of the taping along with, it's not silicone, I forget what it is, but the glue that obviously helps to keep moisture out and hold the fenders together a little bit more. And he literally whipped through this like crazy. This section, I think, of the edit is like 3 to 4 minutes or whatever it is. He did this like almost comparably to that. So we were running around like maniacs. Little subtle animation there. Had my friend Cullen over at Motion Morsels do that. Little RWBs in the eye, you know, mix it up a bit. Mark to Christopher, I was using a DJI Ronin M, which I had for like 5 years probably. I just retired it and got a different Ronin M like last year. But I mean, the Ronin M is just like an absolute champ. On my Red, I use a Mobi Pro just because the Ronin M can't handle it. But yeah, Ronin M is just a tank, man. Steve, how do you export so that the video takes up the whole screen and not have those black bars on the side? Good questions. Great question, Steve, actually, because I see a lot of people do this. So when you're editing and you want that widescreen look with the bars at the top and the bottom, and I made this mistake before too for probably like a solid year or so. What a lot of people do, they'll make the mistake, they'll have the footage in the timeline, and up top, they'll do some sort of color matte, and then they'll add in a preset that takes out the middle and has the bars at the top and bottom. What you're actually doing is burning those bars into the video. So what ends up happening is that when you're on a widescreen monitor, the viewer is only going to see a box within a box. And that's just not how it works. So what you have to do is, if your camera doesn't shoot in a widescreen format, which not all of them do and they don't have to, you have to set your video resolution to the proper format so that it'll take up the whole screen. So on YouTube, if you're just viewing it in the player, you won't see the black bars at the top and bottom, but when you widescreen it, it'll fill the whole screen, but it'll still give you that cropped in look. You never want to burn in the bars at the top and bottom of the video. It's just not the proper way to do it. There are cameras out there who will shoot in specific ratios that will give you that widescreen look, like that 2:3:5 look, which is what this is emulated to look like. But I believe this video, the resolution and the timeline was 3440 by 1440 in 4K. Let's see what we got here. So hopefully that answered your question, Steve. Love the shots of dust and debris. Me too. That's one of my favorite parts about the whole build scene. Still running for 20 years. Time to buy a new one. That's good. Yo, Poison Studios, those grips, man, they wear out quick. And I mean, a lot of people use bicycle grips to suffice for that, but you know, because they're way cheaper. Because I think the Ronin handles, whether you have the ring or just the regular ones, they're like freaking $200-300 for the set. It's like ridiculously expensive. So I think bike handle grips are $60 for the set, but I don't know. I just prefer the feel of the regular handles. Mark, I like my Ronin, but it vibrates after calibrating and my camera struggles to focus. I would just double check your settings. You might be overpowering the motors a bit too much. So we're gonna dive back in here.
When we picked Nakai-san up from the airport,
David's mom down for an interview. She's the best, telling you.
On a flight, that's a long flight, and I've done
my biggest gripe about this video, there are other minor things about it, but about this video is the mic placement I had on her, and I'm surprised nobody else has said it in the video. I guess in the comments rather. I guess people just don't care about it or don't notice it. But this is probably my biggest gripe. So in my defense, I wanted to place the mic to where I had to do as minimal. It's gonna sound weird. As minimal touching as possible because, you know, I know her a little bit, but she's also a client, so you always want to be professional with clients. So, and she didn't want to, you know, ring it up the back of her shirt or the front of her shirt to hide it, which is totally understandable. So in this case, I had to just clip it on, throw it over the back. Kind of looks a little wonky, but it did the trick. How do you get the? I'm guilty of burning the black bars currently. So Diego, in this video, it's shot on A7S2s mainly, and an FS7. Currently, right now, I run an A7S3 and a Red Gemini. And for those tuning in, we are going over RWB Dallas and doing a breakdown and answering your guys' questions. So, Poison Studios, how to get the widescreen effect again. So basically, long story short, if your camera doesn't shoot in that widescreen aspect, you have to change the resolution in the editing sequence. This one specifically is 3440 by 1440. If you Google aspect ratio cheat sheets, you will see a whole list of resolutions that you can put your video to. So I would recommend that. 8-pod media, would you prefer to shoot with just one 24-70 2.8 lens, Sigma Tamron, or 2 to 3 different lenses, 1-8? Totally depends what the shoot calls for. Run and gun scenarios, 24-70 is king, like without a doubt. It's so versatile, but obviously it doesn't really get the same look as prime lenses does. But yeah, 24-70, especially the G-Master, the 2.8, which I've had for like 5-6 years now, is an absolute beast. So it really depends what the shoot calls for. But for run and gun, 24-70, 70-200 is king for sure.
Wondering how he was going to have the energy.
So here's David's mom, her interview. So obviously we had to incorporate her, tie the story together even more. So it's not just, like I said at the beginning, straight action all the time. Which isn't always a bad thing, but I need to tell the story a little bit better.
He was ready after a cup of coffee to go to the garage and start building. And I didn't have expectations. I had seen a little of his work. David had showed me, you know, what his work was. And I had watched.
Man, that mic just such bad placement.
So I had kind of seen him.
At least it was a dark color, so it wasn't like too bad.
I'd seen his building. So I think he was very.
Yeah, by the way, some of you may be thinking it, but there's dust. As Nakai was cutting and blowing everything away, there was dust everywhere around the shop. The cameras got absolutely annihilated. We were blowing dust off the cameras 10, 20, 30 times a day.
Remarkable.
So when you're, like I said, when you're shooting stuff like this, whether it's a feature, documentary, whatever, and you want to get more intimate with your subject, it's not always just about just zooming in on them all the way and getting those types of shots. It's about the perspective also and framing your subject, like in this shot here, which is a rule of thirds. So the first, two halves, first half of the video is taken up by the back end of the RWB, and then the other part, or the first 3/4 and the other quarter is Nakai. So it visually brings your eye to him because there's not too much going on in the foreground. Yeah, it's taking up a lot of the screen, but it's not like too distracting. It's mainly just one big block, which then draws your eye to Nakai. So rule of thirds is huge if you guys aren't utilizing this. X-Famous Z, yo, whatever. Time lapses are always also great to show lapse time. Nakai smoking his 475th cigarette in day number 2, I think we're on right now. So believe it or not, a lot of people in the comments say, "Oh, this is he's a hack. This is a hack job. He's just tearing this shit up. He's just eyeballing everything." Yeah, he's eyeballing everything, but he's literally a master at what he does. Everything is done so well to perfection that you really just got to witness it in person. Also, shout out to David because he was helping throughout this entire build on his car as well, not just Nakai. Same with Robert, the owner of the Mako. Yeah, I think RWB Dallas is probably one of my favorite music selections.
Not many people make, but it felt right to me. I really wanted it to turn out a certain way, so why not make it the ultimate right car for me?
So now you'll hear, obviously there were some interviews, there's some action going on. We're about halfway through the video now, so you always have to keep in mind the music that you're using and how you utilize it, because now you'll hear the music is going to start to get faster paced. It's going to start to be more energy, and the shots are going to go quicker. So it'll get the viewer more excited and more in tune. Like, hey, this is finishing up. This is getting to the finish line. This is this looks sick. Hopefully. Here you go, a lot of fast cuts, quick motion. Music's getting to that high point right now. Some random B-roll that I threw in there because I had some extra clips, wanted to show Sebastian. And there we go, now we're starting to finish up, peeling the tape off. These shots were done by Halcyon, which are really dope, tracking all the tape movement so it's not just really static, you're following along the work, so the camera movement keeps it interesting. This is Nakai measuring, I believe it was the camber, literally just measuring it. It's crazy what you can get done with not a lot of tools. Putting on the wing. This big wing, which David ended up putting on an even bigger wing after the fact, which I'm kind of tight about because it looks so sick, but it's all good. I forgive you, dude.
So in the front, you want 265s. Okay.
So in this scene here of David talking to Nakai wasn't candid. Throughout the build, I felt like I literally felt it that there was lacking some context between David and Nakai and like their connection. So I had asked David, I was like, hey, listen, go up to Nakai, talk to him about the car, see what's going on. So like during the video, this doesn't have to just be like straight, just like work all the time, straight build. So like we can build some like character development too, if that makes sense. Justin, what's good, bro? Thanks for tuning in. APOD Media, about your question, shoot me an email. I will be happy to go full in depth on that. So here's David and Nakai talking, like I said, building that character development a bit.
In the build. Everyone from the guys over at Texas Trackworks to the guys over at Robert's Paint Shop.
And it's also important to cut back and forth from interviews throughout the entire process and not just do one long straight interview, because that's obviously boring, and this helps to give the video more context.
And they really pulled it off. Things came together kind of at the end when I wasn't expecting them to.
The community was remarkable to me. The number of people that were there.
A lot of people showed up. A lot of people. I was actually pleasantly surprised. There was probably, I think at one point, like 30, 40 people there, something like that.
Things that were going astray or were going wrong or had to be fixed or at last minute had to be jerry-rigged or welded or a different part, you know, procured somewhere. So the amount of
Love to see it.
David got from his
Love to see the automotive world coming together.
was amazing.
Oh,
People that
this.
would come to watch and
Oh, I forgot this dude's name. The dude who's just helping Nakai right there. David knows his name, I think. He was another RWB owner. Let's go back here for a second. He was another RWB owner that actually gifted. Was it RWB Orlando? I forget. This guy here in the blue hat actually gifted David with those badges on the side that you guys have seen or will see that has Texas on the side. It looks really sick. It was a really nice touch to the build overall. You'll see those soon. I actually might be able to point them out in one scene here. The guy smoking again, obviously.
I don't think we could have gotten it done without that community.
So the emblems on the sides of the car, head.
Right, forgot that you talked about it. I haven't seen this in so long. There you go.
Gave those to me and surprised me with them. I had no idea he was going to give me anything.
How about that? They look so sick.
They really.
It's a nice touch that helps bring the whole car together. Also, during this interview, we lit this with like one small LED panel on David, a hair light in the back that was just posted up on some like random restaurant table to make him pop off the background a little bit more. And we threw one or two LEDs in the interior because otherwise, if you're looking at this and there's no LEDs in here, it would literally just be like the front end of the car here. It would literally just be black. So to make it pop and make the scene look more interesting, through the LED in there, because pops the roll cage, you can see the seats, you can see the interior. It just looks a little bit nicer overall. So always in any scene that you're doing, think about your lighting.
With him. I had no idea he was going to give me anything. I can't thank him enough. They really add a lot of personal touch to the car. It's broken?
Ah, this is what it was. This was my second gripe about this whole video. In this scene, there's like a fuse or something that's like missing or broken, not working, whatever the case may be. Throughout this entire build, there was literally like nothing that went wrong. And from David's standpoint or from everyone else's standpoint, you know, that's great because nothing went wrong. Everything went smooth. From a production and video standpoint, it makes the video like so happy. Like overall, you're just riding this wave here, but it would have added so much more if there was like some drama or something that like not went drastically wrong, but went like a little bit wrong. So it can just like, so there's more ups and downs to like the whole documentary, the whole story. And that was my second gripe about this, that nothing went wrong, which is weird to think about, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a 15.
You need a sunroof, right?
Yeah, we get 7.5.
Moral of the story, if your video is going too well, just throw a freaking wrench in it, screw it up, get some drama out of it.
Yeah. So we get a 7.5?
I think it was just fuse need to be swapped, whatever the case was.
We have a 15.
So I put it here, just in case.
The 15 will work fine? Okay. The banner really symbolizes...
Near Media asked, was there any specific aspect that was difficult to capture through the whole process? Not one in particular, except for how fast Nakai moves. Like I've said like a million times, the guy moves like a mile a minute. He finishes these cars in like 1.5, 2 days. So like, no matter how much pre-planning you do with like the type of shots you want to get with him, you can basically just throw it out the window. It's just like it's not gonna work. Like keeping up with him, even with 2 guys, actually, you know, Sebastian even helping now and again with filming too. So 3 guys filming him nonstop, you just don't. That's also the problem with the language barrier, is that you don't really know what he's gonna do next. So you need to be on him, like filming him constantly, 8 to 10 hours a day. And you'll see with the interview too, that was all run and gun. But I'll get to that when we get up to it.
The end of the build.
Long story short, you always need to be prepared. Always be over-prepared.
So
Nakai just throwing the spanner on, no problem, straight as a freaking edge.
for me yet. I still don't actually know if it will sink in because I haven't even had it in my garage yet. So
Dallas #1, baby. What a great time that was. Signing the car, classic.
we drive the car tonight.
Yeah, of course you can try it.
Okay. Okay.
So, Mark to Christopher, how many terabytes of footage did you have? I think RWB was 3 to 4 terabytes, almost positive. It was shot over 3 to 4 days, something like that. Yeah, it was a lot. So this next scene coming up right here is Nakai and David about to take the car out for the first time, drive it, and bring it to a meet. And what was crazy about this, which you'll see in a second if you guys haven't seen already, was the turnout of the meet was insane. And I had to show this by not just visually showing it, I had to like ease the viewer in and like just make it ease the viewer in first and then just explode. So you'll hear David talk about it. The audio will fade out and then the screen goes black, I believe, and then bam, whole scene's just there. It's wild. So like I said, time and time again, immersing your viewer in the most dynamic ways is key.
Because there's the
Thank you, Steve. Shout out to you. Appreciate it, man.
okay. All right.
So here's where David talks.
I've been tagged about the meet over 30 times, and we told them that 30 cars would be showing up. Massive meet. And I am going to rip on Halcyon for this one. Kind of not his fault because we were rushing like crazy, but as I was filming stuff on the ground level, I was like, yo, Anthony, throw the drone up real quick. Like, we need footage of this before, like, you know, something happens, whatever. Anthony throws my drone up, brings it back down, and an ND16 filter was still on it from the morning, so that's why everything's a little dark. I was able to bring it back a little bit. I had to denoise it a little bit, but it just overall doesn't look amazing, but still love you, Ant. Still love you. What do we got here question-wise? Poison Studios, yes. The whole thing was recorded on the Atomos monitors. I don't think I backed up anything to SD. I think it was just straight to the Atomos monitors, and then obviously you have drone footage, audio, and all that. But yes. To me, it was crazy, dude. This turnout was literally just for Nakai and David and the RWB. Literally, I was blown away when I first rolled into it. I remember rolling in, and like, I was literally speechless because I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of work we gotta do now. Let's hop out and film as much shit as we can. Always gotta add in the dogs to every video. Every video needs a dog. So we got David rolling in here, Robert behind him in his GTR. One of his GTRs, I think. I forget if he had one or two. I see people showing up. Always important to get reactions. People's reactions help make the feel of the video. Yo, this was so crazy. Looking back on this was so crazy to be a part of.
Well, one of the things I learned from
Hello,
the
Ian.
recording process, which was wonderful, is that car guys are a community. And I
Yeah, this.
Not really focused on that.
Like, look how many people are here. It's
Cars,
ridiculous.
his car, but
Oh, it's not ridiculous. It's great, but it's wild. I'm good, Ian. How are you?
they're excited
First
for
live
each
stream.
other.
If you guys are just joining in, we're breaking down RWB Dallas.
And
We're almost
that
done here, but oh, actually, no, we got a little time left.
was something I had not expected, and which is fabulous. They come together around the love of something creative, which really
Near media, shotgun mic for non-interview audio recording.
and
Almost
that
always.
was
Almost always.
a big part of the experience for me, and something I hadn't expected.
Ian, no problem, bruh. And this upcoming is the interview portion. Now, a lot of RWB builds, there's an interview. Most of them, there's an interview. But I want to do something a little different, and me, Anthony, and Sebastian were trying to figure that out. Like, how can we make this interview different instead of just sitting him in a chair or, you know, him standing, kind of basic. So Sebastian, I'll never let him live this down. It's such a great idea. It's like, he was just like, why don't we just do an interview in the car? It'll make it dynamic. We're going to a spot anyway because we have to do a feature of it. And Nakai has to be dropped at the airport. So, like, why don't we just interview him on the way to the airport in the car? So, like I said, you had to be prepared for literally anything because this was last second and Nakai moves freaking mile a minute. So that's how we got this interview. So you'll see I quickly, or there are camera angles of one in the back. I think that's an A6300 on the front windshield and also a GoPro in the front windshield too. And looking back on this video now, it's also because like I said, didn't have a lot of time, but looking back on this video now, I probably would have switched this GoPro angle a little bit more. This A6300 angle was meant for just Nakai. The one in the back is just to give like a vantage point of like where they are and also get some, you know, backs of their heads. And then this GoPro camera here was for David. David, I'm sorry, it's like not the most flattering angle. I was just in a rush. I had to throw it on because it's just, he had to go, you know? So, life experiences, you know? Voichney Media is in the house. Yo, what up, dog? Pause. So, Nick and Neil work in my office. Nick obviously has to, you know, he's got to stir the pot a little bit. There's no pressure, but who's your favorite edit boy in your office and how many hands does Antonio actually have? Antonio, shout out Antonio. Instagram handles Antonio 5 hands. Nicholas Calabro's Instagram, Nicholas Photographs. Both amazing people, but the favorite editor in this office, you'll have to tune into the next live stream. Sorry. Gonna continue on. So like I said, the importance of that camera facing outwards is to give vantage point to the viewer of like where they're going. Because if there's a shot where we're not filming rollers or we do have supporting shots to, you know, supporting roller shots to show where they're going, this just adds to that to give the viewer a better point of view of where they are at in the time-space continuum. Ian, cheers to a new year, bud. Hopefully see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was crazy. Somebody who literally, we have no idea who this dude is. Don't know if he's a car guy or whatnot. I would assume he is. But literally at a gas station like 5-10 miles away or whatever on the way to the airport, this dude recognizes Nakai. So this is 2018, and this is how famous this dude is. And a lot of people in this see Nakai shaking his finger. You know, in America, we view that as, you know, shaking the no finger, like, no, don't touch the car, don't do anything like that. And I would love to believe that's what that meant, but what Nakai was really doing was just saying hello. And also, you see the mic here kind of fell off at some point. Like I said, just rushing and doing shit. Ian, thank you for the sub, bro. Appreciate you. So, sorry, David, not the most flattering angle. I apologize.
Do you remember your first date you ever went on?
First date?
First date with a girl.
Oh, first
David, just aloha, bruh.
Oh,
So, as cool as this interview is, obviously there's a lot of things that are lost in translation between David and Nakai, and it's just something you can't really help. Which, like I said, you know, that's why it would be great to know the language, so you can just basically have a more intimate video overall. But you know, is what it is. I think we did a great job with this as a whole in this interview section. And of course, we didn't want to just have 3 cameras in the car just rolling on them, because that'd be kind of boring. So we were shooting at the back of the minivan that we rented to get some rollers for supporting shots to just help add to the video, so it's just not boring talking. Although I don't think this is boring. I think it's really interesting in terms of like the content. And I think this is one of the few times Nakai's actually laughed in an RWB Build documentary. So like I said, shout out Sebastian for this amazing idea. Shout out everyone who's still in the stream, by the way. Thanks for hanging in here. Any questions you guys have, let me know.
When I student? Oh yes, maybe. I think so.
We did shoot a small behind the scenes video to this too. If you look up RWB Dallas behind the scenes, there is some stuff there. It's not the best behind the scenes video. I had literally no time to film anything else, so it's just kind of like slapped together, but it'll give you also like a better insight into what we were doing apart from this. Street Bandito. No, he rarely does. I may have seen one other video where he laughs, maybe chuckles in them, but like this one, he actually laughed. He's human. But no, seriously, Nakai's the man. Near media, the cameras in the car were set on full manual. Every single one except the GoPro. GoPro, just throw that bad boy in auto. It'll do its thing. But yeah, the A6300, I forget what camera was in the back. Might have been another A7S. Both on manual. Sean, I used to have a modified vehicle, but now I just dump all my money into the business cameras and stuff and trying to grow the business. So I drive a minivan, which unfortunately the transmission on it went like 3 times. So I'm going to be getting out of that soon and getting something else that's just as practical. Probably not a minivan again, because as much as I love it, I just can't be driving around a minivan all the time. Feel like you can imagine why, you know? It's gets a little brutal after a while. I used to have a 350Z, wide-bodied that, wrapped that. Before that was a Q50. Before that was a Genesis Coupe. Before that was a Hyundai Tiburon. Before that was a Saturn Vue. So we gonna get a modified car, and actually on the low there is most likely going to be a vlog series on building, once I get out of this van, on building a camera car rig, so you guys will have tons of information of the trials and tribulations that I go through of building one out fully from soup to nuts, and hopefully that will be started soon. Street Bandito, when I am exposing these shots, it depends on the environment, but for this one specifically, we expose to be in the middle because I knew I was shooting in log, so I can play around with the exposure a little bit and the levels and stuff, so I wanted to at least have something even. Like I said, the GoPro was on auto, so that didn't really matter too much, but the other ones, yeah, they were set pretty much in the middle. Antonio, you're obviously going to film that BTS. So here we are, Nakai going to the airport, sad day, literally quick in and out, hey, yo. And he is out, and just like that, he's on to his next build. So Nakai leaves for the airport, build is done. Now we are getting into the feature. Oh, also, for those of you that don't know, Nakai names all of his cars that he builds. He named David's car, Raijin. Might be mispronouncing that a little bit, which means Thunder Guard in Japan, Japanese rather, and I think it's sick. David actually ended up getting the plate for that. So here's the LED bar that I was talking about earlier that I brought. We didn't have time to do like a lot more. I wanted to do a lot more feature of the car than I wanted to in different environments, but time just didn't allow it. So we did a whole light painting scene to this section to show off the curves of the car. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of light painting and stuff before, but when we did this, we needed to add a little bit extra to the features, so we started with that. See over the wheels, that little shake, you know? I still love that shot. Signature of the car, obviously. Now we're building up the music here. Bang. Right into the feature, some RPM gauges, transition day to night. So while we were actually shooting this light painting scene, I was trying to figure out like how can we transition this dark scene to a nighttime scene. So we were just like, I forget who said it, but collectively as a whole, it was like, why don't we just, since we're filming this inside, it looks like nighttime, we'll just swap to the outside, film the same type of RPM gauge, you know, as it's going up. This way we'll be able to transition from day to night, and here we are, doing rollers. You always got to think about transitions. You can't just like snap to random stuff. You can't just jump cut all the time. You need to plan certain things out. So here we are doing rollers on Dallas roads, which I'm so jealous of because they're so smooth, large, wide open. You'll see here, it's ridiculous. We don't have this in Long Island, which sucks. We got the 495, which is whack. Still love that drone shot. So we have David doing some rollers, and all of these rollers are being filmed by myself and Anthony. Actually, simultaneously, Anthony was shooting, I believe, out of the trunk of the car from the main part, and I was shooting out of the side door. I had the Ronin M with the A7S2 with the 7200 mounted on it, so all those like side, like complete side, locked-in side shots are all 7200, which I think I tried putting the 7200 on the Ronin M like a half a year before that. I was like, hey, it kind of works. So tried it out here. Actually worked out pretty well. And there's actually some shots with it in the feature in a few seconds here of the car static, which actually looks pretty sick. I was surprised the Ronin M could handle it at that time. Derek, this was S-Log 2, Poison Studios. This was, the drone was the Inspire. Not the Inspire, the Phantom 4 on this. Yes, the Phantom 4. So I'm gonna replay this back because shout out Halcyon, because this shot is still one of my favorites in this video. This rolling shot of him going away is absolutely incredible. It's one take, one shot, long take of him going to the on-ramp. It's beautiful. Just enjoy this. Look at it. Incredible. Incredible. So here we are is the feature scene with David parked up here. A lot of these shots are a mixture of 7200. Those are like the super close-up ones. And then Anthony, I believe, was using Sony's OEM 20-70 lens. So these close-up shots here are 7200. It looks, this is the G Master 7200 2.8, the version 1. It looks so freaking mint. I actually sold this lens. Here it is. Gripe number 3. Gripe number 3 of this video. And I did see it in the edit. There is bird shit on the top of his car. I did see it in the edit. I love the shot so much. I had to put it in. I didn't know how to mask it that time. Wasn't that great as I am now at editing at that time. So I left it in. Just adds character to the build, you know? I don't use the Phantom 4 anymore. I use a Mavic 2 Zoom. These are 7200 shots. Also, this is 20-70. Oh, that's 7200. This song, by the way, I kid you not, search for this song for probably 5 hours on its own. I wanted like a very specific song for this. It was like a down south, like I forget the type of instrument it is. It's like a banjo. Yeah, I guess banjo type thing. Very southern, like banjo type, like twang to it, because it just, I felt like it fit the Dallas vibe. Felt like it fit the car overall. It took me forever to find this song, and I found it from, if I'm not mistaken, this guy on SoundCloud. Actually, it's in the description. Andre Gomez. I'm just gonna double check this here. Andre Gomez, Dead Street Crossroads. Amazing artist. Check him out. Actually, check out any of these artists on here, because these guys make some sick music. What do we got going on over here? Spend more time finding the right song than editing sometimes. 100%, bro. It's ridiculous. Street Bandito, I do now have Red Giant's VFX suite, but I also masked out in different ways. But regardless, 2.8 million people have seen the bird poop, so here we are. A little late. And this obviously ending the feature with this picturesque downtown Dallas night vibe. The it's not like really regret, it's more so just like a time thing also. I really want to shoot this car, like feature this car at night and do like what we did just there, like a 2-3 minute feature also at nighttime, because it would have been like the icing on the cake to like the end of this documentary. But at the point in this build, everyone was exhausted. Nobody wanted to put in any more time. Well, not nobody, but like not everyone wanted to put in extra time. It was a lot, but just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I believe that is it. I believe this is the credit roll now. Yes. Phantom 4 drone shot of downtown Dallas. Sunset. I remember, I forget what day that was. That might have been a day we just went to go do B-roll, and like we didn't see the sunset while we were in the middle of Dallas. We were like on the way out and we saw it, and I was like, yo, we gotta pull over like stat, because we can't lose this light, and it looks insane. John, I'm sorry I cannot release that info, bruh. And obviously credit roll with everyone who was involved. This guy almost wrecks his toy car. Another dog. We need the dogs in the video. Anthony running after the car on its way out. In this, I also wish...
I do have a New York plate on the car.
I do wish we were able to film more outside the shop, like Nakai kind of in like a candid element sort of thing. We did like a little bit at dinner, but you also don't want to stick the camera in his face too much. You don't want it to feel like a reality show, But like I said, time doesn't always allow on these type of things. Nakai has a tight schedule. He literally flies in, builds it for a day or two, flies out to the next one. Like that guy's schedule is nuts.
I haven't switched to Texas plates because the car's been under construction for so long. It really
And
ended
I
up
believe that is it. We'll let this
going
play all the way
shop
through,
to
but I
shop.
think
I
there's the
definitely
the plate that David got put on.
Texas plates pretty
So
much.
sick. The Texas plates
I
are the
definitely have to
best.
thank, Robert, Rick, everybody
New
at
York
the
had these
shop.
yellow freaking American cheese plates for so long. Now we have white ones that look better, but
All
it's
Team
just
Misfits,
whack.
they came out to the build, and I was really appreciative that they showed up and shared the same enthusiasm for the build as I had. I also have to thank my mother for being so supportive of everything, all the rest of my family.
John, you know who RWB Dallas number 2's gonna be?
Special thanks to you.
When's that happening? Get me in there, bro. Get me in there. I'm dying to film another RWB. I'm like dying to film another RWB. I've been trying to find one, but because of COVID, Nakai's schedule is all over the place. Like he'll set dates, and obviously those dates will get pushed back because of whatever all the stuff that's going on. And like I'm just dying to lock one in. I really want to do a second one. maybe even a third. Depends how the second one goes, because this was a lot of work. Near Media, I am based out of New York, Long Island, New York to be specific. And we have the ending shot here of everyone holding the RWB shirts that were worn throughout the whole build. So that is a breakdown, maybe not the best breakdown, but breakdown of RWB Dallas. I'm going to leave the live stream open for a little bit longer if you guys have any questions, and I'll answer them. In the background, I would play RWB Dallas so you guys have something to look at apart from our face. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll leave this open for a few more minutes. And, you know, I'm hoping to do a lot more of these because, you know, I enjoy this kind of stuff and I enjoy giving information to all of you guys and, you know, just love YouTube. John, shoot me an email, sam@schwaafilms.com. Please, I would love to get in on that because I want to do, if I can post RWB Dallas #1 and RWB Dallas #2, bro, that would make my year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So, like I said, gonna leave this open for a little bit longer for any questions you guys have while I fiddle around here with this live stream. And shout out everyone who stayed throughout this whole thing. This is awesome. If you guys love this so much, I mean, I'll stream for hours. I don't care. Mark, have you ever had issues with corrupted SSDs or bad Ronin M batteries? I have 2 bad batteries right now. Knock on wood, never one bad SSD or SD card, but now that you brought it up and now that I said that, I'm probably, they're just all going to shit the bed, probably. No, hopefully not. But no, I have not, which also I have to credit that to buying high quality stuff. Cheaper is not always better, especially when it's as important as the media that you're recording. Ronin M batteries, not that they're bad, not that I've had ones that have went bad, but they definitely lose their, the older ones I have lose their charge way faster, but that's also because I've charged and uncharged them, decharged them hundreds of times. Like there's so many power cycles, so like I can't even discredit them. And I think I have like 8 Ronin M batteries or something like that. Near Media, $400 SD cards better not go bad. Damn right, they better not go bad. Shit's expensive out here, bro. Antonio, Nick, you guys got to stay in, otherwise you're gonna get fined or fired. I don't know which one. Static Schwaafilms. Sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. If you guys want me to do review videos, I will do review videos. I will go in on them. Mark, definitely do it again, please. Are you going to do another editing competition? I don't know about another editing competition yet because that took up an enormous amount of time between going through all the submissions, filming, recording it. I don't know, it's a lot. I might. If I have some extra downtime, I might do that. For those of you that don't know, Nick, like I said, one of the guys who works with me in this office here, is currently tuning into this live stream from the treadmill. So Nick, you better be still on the treadmill because health is important. Steve, I would love to help you out with your videos and review them. Apparently I'll set up another live stream and just go through people's videos because that's clearly what's going on here. Near Media, thank you. By the way, Steve, super proud of you for all the stuff that you're doing because it's crazy from from the time frame that you started to what you're doing now is awesome, and you like progressed a lot. I follow you on the gram, bro. Don't worry. It's wild to see the progression over like a short period of time, and honestly, just filming and creating every day, and just being a sponge of information from YouTube videos and other people and people who inspire you is how you'll grow and learn. Antonio's in the back of the office right now. I'm not sure really what he's doing. He's listening to this live stream, but he's probably watching a podcast online, not editing anything, Basti23, what program do you use to edit? I use Adobe Premiere, which up until recently I love, but Adobe Premiere 2022 has been absolutely killing me to where I wanted to punch a hole through my monitor, through my computer. It's been crashing. It's been doing wacky shit. So I downgrade back to 2021. Nick would attest to that. I've gotten pissed so many times. He's been working on videos that have just crashed thousands of times. Like, Adobe just needs to get their shit together. I understand it's a very intricate program, but it's just really annoying when they release a new update and it just sucks. So I'm back to Adobe Premiere 2021 right now. We might all switch to DaVinci Resolve here. Not sure yet. Steve, man, you're making me blush, bro. Come on. Making me blush, man. But yeah, I'd be happy to review your video and any other videos that you guys have. Street Bandito, yo! 2022? Prime example. I was editing A7S3 footage, highest quality one, 422 10-bit, XAVCSI. It was 4K 60 clips. It was like a 30 to 45 second video with just an adjustment layer of color and like some animation type overlay in the first two clips that weren't like that extensive. We got a 3080 in this piece, like it can handle it. And Premiere just like couldn't export it, or if I tried to go export it, it would crash, or if I moved the cursor around, it would crash. But if I bring it back into 2021, works flawlessly. So, whack. Useless media, yep. Street Bandito, I will be happy to host more live streams. I could probably do it once a week, to be honest. I just need to plan out what content I'm going to talk about apart from reviewing videos. So if you guys have suggestions, you can leave them on a comment in the community section on my channel, or leave them here because I'll watch this back later and read all your guys' comments to go through them again just in case I missed anything. Static Jamaica Films. That's what it is. That's dope. I like that. Here for the knowledge, bro. Love to see it. Street Bandito. Something about 10-bit workflow. It ruins everything. I was doing fine with it for the past like year. Even like red footage, like Premiere, any Premiere under 2022 works totally fine. There's quirks here and there, but 2022 is just whack. JLB Visuals, I feel you, dude. I was in London one time. I know, France, London, you guys might not, get along too well, but I was in London one time filming, and it was a nightmare. You could not do 98% of the stuff we do here in the States over there. We still got stuff done, but man, does it suck to film there, which sucks because it's beautiful architecture. Whenever you go to a new area, you get inspired automatically because it's just new buildings, new architecture, new scenery, and you just want to film as much stuff as possible. But like anywhere in like Europe is just insane to film. It's just not as much fun. Mark asks, I know I've asked a bunch of questions, but how do you balance shots at night without jacking your ISO really high? So obviously, if you can control the lighting in the environment, that's how you do it. You control whatever lighting that you're using, whatever lights that you're using to pump in that light. Luckily, the Sonys are great at, if you bump up the ISO, you won't really get much grain. But obviously, a fast lens like a 1.4, 1.8 is great, but not all the time you want to shoot open. You want to shoot at a higher f-stop so you can get other things in focus, so you don't want that much bokeh, etc. But what I absolutely love about the A7 III is that it has two native ISOs and S-Log 3. Base native ISO is 640, second is 12,800. So if you're using the camera, and let's say you're filming something at night, and you have like a lot of blacks, a lot of shadows and stuff like that, if you actually look at the ISO at like 8,000 or 10,000, it's going to be super noisy. So if you go from 10,000, and you can watch the shadows and watch the blacks, if you go from 10,000 to 12,800, you'll see 90% of that noise go away because the native ISOs on that sensor are 640 and 12,800. So if you can also use the most dynamic range in those ISO spots. So if you can stay within those ranges, it's great. So The A7S3 is awesome because at night I can bump it up to 12,800 ISO and I can be, you know, in a decently lit area, and I can be at like f5 or f6 if I want. And also, obviously, ND filters control light too, which I'm sure you knew that, but just to add to that, let's see what we got here. Near media. If I record stuff on the Atomos, yes, I record. I use ProRes, which is obviously the smoothest butter in Premiere. Even 2022 can handle ProRes, but you know that doesn't always happen. There's RED footage, there's FS7 SD card footage, there's A7S SD card footage. There's other cameras out there that you can't record or that people don't record ProRes to all the time. But yeah, using an Atomos, which in RWB I was using a Shogun Inferno, and I think Anthony Halcyon was using a Ninja Flame, I believe. I mean, that like, yeah, the storage sucked, but that saved so much hassle in editing because 3 terabytes worth of ProRes footage is way easier to handle than 3 terabytes of SD card footage. Diego, when you film from the back of your van, do you use a harness like Chris Petruccio? Oh, shout out Crispy. He's going to some convention right now. If so, do you just go for it or have to take it out permanent or something to avoid problems? So, oh, Matt, Smooth Q in the house. You're a little late, bro, but it's all good. So, Diego, not every shoot I can bring the rig or set up a rig for. A lot of run and gun, like in this situation, or budget doesn't even allow. So when we're shooting out the side, we're obviously buckled into the seat itself. Shooting out the back, have I done some really sketchy stuff without a harness? Yes, do not recommend it. Do not do that. You should always have a harness with chains, so because you never know what can happen. So yes, if I can't use the rig now, I will always use a harness with chains, so I'm safe in the back. Safety is obviously top priority. And was the other part of your question? If so, do you go for it? A lot of run and gun situations, we just go for it. And like, you know, a lot of these videos, the budget or time isn't there to pull permits. Like, for example, if you want to pull a permit in New York City, let's say you want to shut down 2 blocks, which isn't even enough for rollers, whatever. You want to shut down 2 blocks. Number one, it's going to cost like a good arm and a leg to shut down that block. You usually need like police presence, and it's going to take the permit place to take forever to get back to you. Obviously, it's not like that everywhere, but you know, sort of like a gray area with that, which I won't really touch upon in this. If you want more information on that, shoot me an email though. Yo, Zach from Curbangers is here, dude. What? Zach, shout out you, bro. Love you. Zach is, if you guys don't know him, Curbangers is a channel. Go visit it. Makes amazing automotive content. It has helped me out on a lot of shoots. Helped me out on Brent's RWB. Brent's Ferrari 458 video. And also was in the BTS of that. So go check that out if you guys haven't seen. A lot of information in those videos and a lot of filmmaking techniques in those as well. So we have been streaming for almost an hour and a half. I gotta go home. I gotta eat dinner. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Schwaafilms. Email me, sam@schwaafilms.com. Leave a comment on this live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is awesome. This is a lot of fun for me to do. I will be happy to review your guys' videos and do some more live stream videos about talking about gear, what I use, etc., whatever it is. And obviously, stay tuned for the content that I got coming out. We got more BTS Vault episodes, which is more information, more vlogs, stuff like that, and obviously full features. So thank you guys so much. Near Media, thanks for all the questions. Obviously, that's what makes this interactive, because if you guys aren't answering questions, I'm just talking to camera, and it doesn't make as much fun for me. So thanks for asking all the questions. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Pause. Bing bang.